All right, we're back. Dynasty Trades in 5. I'm Clay.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Scott.
No lead in, huh? That's it. Let's get right to it. So we're doing Darren Waller tonight. It was a bit of a disappointment this year. I think he got hurt, Thanksgiving game and didn't come back and got on the COVID list, yada, yada, yada. He's going to turn 30 next September. So he seems to have some more left in the tank. But what do you think about Waller, Scott?
Yeah, Waller. I mean, good news for Waller was that injury that he had on Thanksgiving was supposed to be very minor. I've had some IT band issues in my life, and I thought, yeah, he'd be able to play. Never returned. So that's going to leave a sour taste in people's mouth as we get to the offseason. The fact that he was out, basically missed the final month of the season. There was a couple, two tight end premium leagues where I invested a lot of capital in him. And when you lose a tight end in one of those, I mean, that just crushes you because you probably don't have viable replacements. So now it comes down to like, where do you put him in tier of the second tier of tight ends? I think he's clearly behind Andrews, Pitts. Then what is your second tier? Probably Kittle is still in most people's like 1B tier, most likely. And it's like, what does your second tier of the elite tight ends look like? And how much of a gap is there? I think where you're really getting to a question is what is the gap between Waller, Hawkinson, Goddard, Kelsey, and everybody else. I think that's the clear like next tier. But I've seen some takes where people prefer Goddard over Waller at this point, and I think that's a legitimate debate with the way Goddard's played the last half of the year. So he's 30. The good news with tight ends though is like it's not like his prime is going to be over. He's still probably got a couple years left, and we also have to remember he essentially missed like the first 4 years of his career too.
Yep.
So you could probably say the wear and tear on him is a little less than what it is for a lot of 30-year-old tight ends. And I actually like his chance to bounce back from a PPR standpoint. I mean, that's how he makes his money, is with a lot of volume and a lot of targets. So I actually think there's some good pivot opportunities to buy him going into the offseason. So I'm still in.
Definitely. Yeah, it's crazy after the first week when he had 19 targets. Like we thought, Waller was on pace. Baby. We're like, all right, Waller's going to have a 200 target season apparently.
It's his best game right there.
Look, his volume was down a little bit this year. I think that's because they were incorporating more of Ruggs in the offense before, his issue, and they were just spreading the ball out a little more. But he still had the weeks where he was the main guy. I mean, most of his weeks he had at least 7 targets. So I'm not too concerned about him. I think you'll be able to get him obviously on a discount this year because people get confused again. They think all ages are the same and don't understand that positionally they're relative. Yeah, 30 is old for a wide receiver. 30 is not old for a tight end. Just like 25 is not young for a running back. So as much as it'll be hard to, but this is what you do is you buy him at a discount coming off a bad year. And that's how you get him on your roster.
So would you rather have Gesicki and let's call it the 111 or Waller?
I think I'd still go. Okay. I'd still go Waller, but I like Gesicki. I'm actually excited to see what ends up happening with him. But I'm probably higher on him than most, but I'd still take Waller.
Yeah, I'm going to take Gesicki in the pick at this point. I'll say this about Waller, right? He was pretty much untouchable going into last year. Thought he was a top 3 tight end, but now he's fallen back more into that. All right, if you give me a player in the first, there's a pretty good chance you're getting him off my roster if that player has a pulse. If it's a Gesicki, not if it's an Irv Smith, someone that's a figment of our imagination.
What would you, if you had Mark Andrews and somebody wanted to move from Waller to Andrews, what would you require that the Waller owner add for you to give up Andrews?
I mean, it's probably got to be a first of some sort, even if it's a later first. I mean, just from a process standpoint, I don't think that's necessarily a deal that you're going to be able to get done, though, other than you have to find someone that's just like super excited for Andrews. It's probably worth it, but that's a bad process deal to usually take because easily we could be talking a year from now and Andrews could be the one hurt and Waller could be the one with the 100-catch season, and we're going, why did I ever make that deal?
Yeah, you're going to have to give me a lot to make up that difference. And, the thing is, even next year, the difference in scoring might not be all that. It won't be as wide as it was this year, I don't think. But that really doesn't matter right now. The value's on the Andrews side.
Okay. What if you had Waller and the Dawson Knox owner was approaching you? What would you need on top of Dawson Knox to give up Waller?
Not a lot.
Not a lot, right? Not a
Probably.
ton.
I think that's probably in like the first and swap a second type deal versus getting a first on top. I don't think you're going to be able to get a first on top. But I think that's a good pivot. I kind of like the idea if you're going to pivot off of Waller, go down to somebody that's lesser and try to get that piece on top. Did you take Waller over Kelsey, Shane?
No.
What would you give plus Waller to get Kelsey?
Absolutely nothing. I wouldn't make the move.
Yep.
So that's the problem with pivoting off of Waller to.
So if you have Waller, you're not excited to add to get Kelsey, basically.
No, not at all.
Would you add to get Kittle?
Yeah, I'll give you a third. How about that? Here's and a fourth. You can have a third and a fourth.
A fourth. Ooh.
Multiple fourths. I'll throw you some fab.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Waller and
give you some cookies on Sleeper.
Waller and a 204 for Kittle. Would you do that?
Waller and a 204 for Kittle. I'm giving up Kittle. I'm getting Kittle.
No, you're getting Kittle.
I'm getting Kittle. Yeah, I'll do that. At 204 is negligible to me, right there.
Okay.
I would
take Waller. I would take Waller in the 204, but I would have something teed up with that 204 to make me feel better.
I mean, I think the good thing is Carr is going to be back. I mean, right now the Raiders are in the playoffs, so you got to give them credit for everything they've gone through. Somehow they're still 9-7. I think it's bought Carr another year. They have to get other weapons that are probably just going to make the offense more potent and explosive. So, I mean, I like his situation. It's better than some situations on some of these other guys. It's better than like what the situation we have with Kittle or with Fant. So